typical Slavic depression enters the chat. I have a few interesting thoughts today to share. I think current world is one big depressive place. But I have a cute background of our central church here in Vladivostok. I don't know, guys, if you share this feeling together with me, and I will explain you how it feels in Russia, is that since the year 2019, 2020, everything went wrong. And for the last 5 years, I feel like there is no bright future, And with a special military operation, it even became worse. Is that even though I make my life better, I do what I like, I do YouTube, I try to travel, I try to improve my life. But overall, overall feeling about living in this world and living in Russia is that you don't feel bright future anymore. And it started, I think, in my life, it started since the coronavirus, and it became really, really bad since this special military operation. In that moment in Russia, everything changed, and it feels like we lost the life, and then we don't know the future of our life. I mean, you try to do your best in your specific case in your life, like trying to do better, but feeling around you somewhere at the back of your mind still saying you that is a V word, it's unclear future, it's uncertainty around. I think the best time in Russia and in my life, let's take a generation of millennials who were born in 90s. I think our life was pretty tough in 90s, but we don't remember it because we were too young. But we can remember just a little bit about it and know it from stories of our parents. I think life was pretty rough, and then since the year around 2006 7, I think it was the brightest time when the Russian economy were really growing, and then uh, it started to go downfall around 2014 when the Crimea thing happened and our currency plummeted twice as it was. Like the dollar ruble exchange was on one rate, and after Crimea, it went completely different. And then after 2014, it was still okay. It was a still normal, happy life. I remember at that time I went abroad. I enjoyed my life a lot. So everything went good and positive, and I think it was the best time of my life when I lived in China. I traveled. I enjoyed my life, and then since the year 2020, when the pandemic hit the world, I think everything changed, and now we're still here. My surroundings reflect this mood: gray sky and calm water and a few snowflakes. I can tell you that this March, it feels like a fake spring because it feels like the spring is coming and we have sunshine days, but the air is so cold. Like it feels even worse than minus 15 in January. I'm getting colder right now in March. It has been 2 months since I moved from Moscow to Vladivostok. So, how does it feel living here? Because Moscow is pretty close to the conflict area, the special military operation, cities nearby usually gets drone attack. In Vladivostok, it feels much calmer and safe. It feels like you went from the big city to your village house and you far away from big city problems. That's how it feels here. But you know what? In Moscow, there is no GPS and map doesn't work and problems with internet and stuff like that. In Vladivostok, we have a little bit of it too. They try to protect military bases as something important for military, but overall in the city it works well. It's not that bad as Moscow, but still, like in some areas, you can have disappeared internet too. Even here, like very far, far, far from Moscow, drones cannot fly here. I have many viewers from United States of America. And with this video, I want to actually make a friendship bridge because welcome to the Special Military Operation Club. I think, guys, now I think you kind of understand Russian people is that, you know, that the politics is one story and the normal people is another story. And normal people cannot actually control sometimes what the politics doing in this world and what the president doing. And on a human level, like we all just want to have a normal life. We don't want to have any crisis, right? But you know, we are just normal people. And I have many viewers watching from America that are just normal people, and kind of now you can understand what normal Russian people feel. I've heard that prices for fuel in Europe are going very crazy. Our price for fuel in Vladivostok is about 90 cents per liter, or like around $1, because right now dollar is getting weaker and ruble is getting stronger a little bit. So now price is different a little bit, but it's not going crazy high at the moment. But I think the biggest difference with the Russian special military operation and American special military operation is that the world really canceled Russians a lot and put all sanctions because they just could control, and America and Europe put so many sanctions on us. And now you can imagine if Americans would get cancellation from everything. Imagine you just a normal person and you would be cancelled for the things that your government is doing. Maybe sanctions would be lifted one day. I'm not sure. Can something happen here in Vladivostok? In a wild, crazy dream, yes, it can happen because Vladivostok is a naval base of Russia, and in case of crazy special military operation, this place would be in danger because there are like warships around and stuff like that. Some people say that China want to take over Russia, but it's just what I've heard on the internet, guys. Since I was born here, since I live here, not in our media, not in my family or friends or people that surround me. No one talks about it. No one is scared of Chinese invasion, as they say on the internet. But I received comments from Chinese people and from Westerners. I don't know from where they got this information, but what I've heard here, we don't have any news or any information about possible threat from China. In case of emergency, I take my tiger and we go deep to the far east taiga forest because we have a lot of empty land and we can go and live somewhere in a deep Russian village. Living at the walking border with North Korea, it also feels pretty fun. Yeah, it's pretty interesting part of the world. So far it feels normal and safe, but we don't know what's going to happen in the future. History of Primorsky region, if you think that this land is actually China, yes, it's true that 200 years ago it was actually Chinese land, but historically they never built any big settlements or Vladivostok, it's truly Russian town. Vladivostok has never been a Chinese town. Vladivostok was established only after Beijing Treaty that they signed between Imperial Russia and Imperial China. So, in short, how it happened is that it was a big Manchurian territory, and back then China had opium war, and I understand that China didn't care about these lands or didn't have enough power because they were very weak after the Opium War. And then Russian were exploring the Far East, and then they negotiate with China, and then they sign two treaties. First, they sign about Amur region, and then in 1860 they signed Pekin or Beijing Treaty about Primorsky region. So they never fight for this land to take it. Chinese people, they were here in the small settlements like a village style, and during the Soviet period, all almost all Asian people were deported back to Korea and China. So now we have mostly a Russian population here. The story of this land is pretty fascinating and interesting, and I want to make another video about explaining why it happened to be that white looking people living here in the very eastern part of the world. That was a pretty serious video today, but with such an amazing view of the Golden Bridge and our magnificent harbor of Vladivostok. So you guys, if you're from America watching or from Europe watching, let me down below in the comments how do you feel. Maybe we can support each other in the comments, or in the opposite, let's be depressive together. But I'm waiting for the spring, honestly, because I want to feel something more positive again. Really tired after the winter. If it will get warmer, it will feel better a little bit. So thank you so much, guys, for following Lisa the Russian. If you want to subscribe to my crazy Russian adventures and follow my life here in Far East of Russia, you can subscribe to my channel down below. And if you want to really support my job, you can become a Patreon sponsor or send tiny little capitalist dollars underneath this video. Thank you so much, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye!